Welcome to The Chase, a 2-week limited series on the Shallow End podcast feed about a collector's successful chase of a card, player run, or set. I'm Dave Schwartz, and over the course of a couple of weeks, I'm excited to be bringing you the tales of collectors and their success stories. In this episode, you're going to hear from Dan. On Instagram, he's at Yankee Doodle Dandy Cards, and he'll be telling us about one of the more impressive player runs of a parallel you'll ever hear about. There's nothing easy about this chase, as it brings together the big three: scarce parallels of a long-retired player who just happens to be wildly popular among a certain fan base. Dan overcame the obstacles and, because of that, has an absolutely awesome player run. Today on The Chase, we are talking to Dan, who on Instagram is Yankee Doodle Dandy Cards. Dan, thank you so much for being here. And what chase are we talking about?
Thanks for having me. And we're talking about Mariano Rivera Black Flagship cards.
So Mariano Rivera Black Flagship, we're talking about Tops, right?
Absolutely.
Great. So give us a little bit of background before we get into the chase of this. Just talk about some background on Tops Black Flagship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what really has attracted me to them is they're one of the largest flagships. Started in 2003. We lost 1 year in 2007. But besides that, it's been pretty consistent. And obviously, they're coming back again this year, albeit in Series 2. And so I just like both the consistency of it. And I personally have OCD. So for a lot of cards, I feel like I need to have a PSA 10. But what I like about Black Flagships is if you have a PSA 6, that's not the end of the world either, because they're condition sensitive.
And so for those of you who are listening, and you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, like I think this parallel sounds familiar to me. This is the one that Topps said they were getting rid of for 2025 Series 1. And then when the Blabbin' About Slabbin' podcast guys, Chris and Jeff, sort of organized, I don't want to say a revolt, but a support for it, Topps decided to bring it back for Series 2. So the run continues.
The run continues. And the chase continues.
Good. So why Mariano Rivera? Of all the players, why him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Yankee fan. And Mariano Rivera is just one of those few players that just almost never let you down. He has a pretty simple job in theory, right? Go out there, get usually 3 outs. Everyone knows the pitch he's going to throw. And he just did it the best. And in some ways, I think as athletes go for like a limited, this is what you have to do, and can you complete it? He's got to be the top of any athlete anywhere. And I know that pitchers are not always the most sexy collectible cards or items, but for me, I always have been a huge fan. And from a price point standpoint, that's also been different. Like, you know, I have a bunch of Derek Jeter Black Flagships too. Those are significantly more expensive than the Rivera ones. So both from like my personal preference and from a wallet standpoint, this made a lot of sense.
It does. So Rivera, the only player in Major League history to get 100% of the votes on his first ballot for the Hall of Fame. Yankee legend, of course. I can see how he fits right in there. And what you're saying about the wallet, about the money, just makes perfect sense. So what was your first one? What was your first flagship Black Mariano?
That's a great question. Trying to think. I think I had a 2004 was the first one I came across.
So that was the first one you had. And do you remember about how long ago that was?
Yeah, I think I got my first one late 2021. And when I got it, I actually had decided that I was going to go for the run. Like that was my intention. I had, I think like a lot of collectors coming out of the pandemic, I started collecting again. I hadn't done it since I was, an 11 or 12-year-old. I initially spent a lot of money trying to figure out what I wanted to collect. And I really honed in on the Black Flagships, which I've consistently done since that time. And so I wanted to do this run. So late 2021, I was like, okay, like I want to focus my collection on this. This is a specific project I want to work on. And so that's when I started.
That's great. And we talked a little bit offline before doing this just to make sure we were on the same page with things. But I did not realize that you had decided to chase the run before you even had one. So what was it about this parallel as opposed to gold or anything else that drew you to it?
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm actually, and for anyone listening, a 2009 gold parallel away from the entire Mariano Rivera gold parallel run. And admittedly, not all of them are 250 as well. But I love these cards. And again, it's a little bit of the OCD in me. Like, it is fine to not have a PSA 10 on it. And to be candid with you, like, I've actually bought multiple copies of cards because I've tried to upgrade the grades as the years have gone on too. So I think in the pop count, I probably have owned like 75% of the Mariano Rivera Black parallels, which is maybe embarrassing to admit, but I think it's kind of cool.
No, it's a point of pride. Just own it. That's
Yeah.
impressive. So I'm trying to think. I can't remember when he retired, but 03 was the first black parallel. About how many years are we talking about that you're trying to complete here?
Yeah, exactly. So 2014 was his last card, and admittedly, he retired in 2013. So the 2014 card, as Topps has done for a number of great baseball players, they put out kind of like a final year card with his full stats on the back, which is great. But the last year as an active player was 2013. And of course, the 2014 one was the one that I spent 3+ years trying to get.
Okay, so that's the one. I'm going to come back to that. So we're talking about 12 years of cards, but 11 actually because there was no flagship black in 2007.
Correct.
Right.
They
So
had the copper, I believe, that year.
yeah, I remember that. Yes. Good job, Tops. So
Yeah.
copper in 2007, black every other time. What has, before we get to the last one, and I agree, I'm somebody who is in the camp that the year after they retire, that counts as a playing days because on the back of the card, it has their stats from their final year, right? So it's
Yes.
the aggregate
Yes.
of all of it. So I think that makes sense. Um, what was, before we get to the last one, what was the process like? You mentioned you've owned 75% of the total print run. How did you go about acquiring those over the years?
Totally. I mean, eBay saved searches was largely how I got them off of a few other sites they'd randomly pop up. But it's totally hit or miss with the flagship blacks, which I think a lot of people can appreciate. Like, I actually have a number of players I'm trying to do a run on, and this is random, but like Jorge Posada, there's 1 or 2 years of Jorge Posada where like there are currently 4 or 5 copies of the same year card on eBay, but like I've only seen a 2003 one once. And so that kind of makes it a little bit exciting and frustrating to collect. But yeah, it's very, there's a lot of variables, put it that way.
Right. So when I imagine, so you've been doing this for 3 years, a little over 3 years now, or so, 3 or 4 years. When one pops up, when you've got your eBay save searches going, and boom, there's one, you must get that little bit of a shot of adrenaline, even now, right? Even though you've completed it, because you might see one that you haven't seen yet and have a chance to upgrade.
Absolutely. And the thing that's also interesting about the black parallels is that the cost discrepancy is pretty great. I've gotten them for as low as like $20 to upwards of $200, to be honest with you. And the $200 one, which I'm not totally proud of spending that much on a single card, was one that I just could not find anywhere. It finally popped up. It was 2008, and I just pulled the trigger on it.
So the last one you needed was 2014, right?
Yeah.
Was it a matter of finding the right copy or finding it at all? And when did you locate it?
Oh yeah, I will totally tell you the story. So this is embarrassing, but good for I think a podcast audience because it's amusing. So I did finally find one on eBay. I don't remember the exact time, but it was when Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie came out. Because I was in the movie theater when the auction was ending, and I was just being a cheapskate, and I lost out on it, and I was super annoyed. But I was like, okay, I'll find another one on eBay, and then I just have not seen one since that event, and so I've been kicking myself nonstop for it. And relatively recently, a few weeks ago, I posted on Instagram just the completed run without the 2014 card. And I'm telling you, I got a message within an hour that said, hey, I know you said you had the full run, but I see you're missing the 14, and I haven't. It was perfect.
Right. Oh, so say more about that. Right. What is your history with Instagram? Have you been on for a long time, or is it really?
No. So I have my own personal Instagram account. I had been following more and more baseball card pages. I had been messaging some people that I had, short print today with Jake, who I talked to a lot, and just kind of chatting about cards I had. And then a few people were like, "Wait, you have this or that? You should just have your own account, dude." And so I did make my own, and so I started from there. I've really enjoyed it. I've only done it for like 2 or so months, and picked up a good amount of followers, and it's just kind of a fun thing for me to do. It's not so much even about selling, but just like talking with other community members, kind of highlighting some stuff I have and chatting about collectibles, which is personally fun for me to do.
That's
And
amazing.
it paid off in this case in that it ended my 3+ year run pretty quickly.
Let's say a little bit more about that. So you are dragged kicking and screaming to the Taylor Swift movie.
I
You
wasn't kicking and screaming. I'm going to be honest. I enjoyed it, but
I'm
continue.
I know I'm trying to paint a more dramatic picture here. Come on,
Yes, yes.
work with me.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So you missed out on the card. It doesn't come up again. Your friends convince you. You convince yourself it's time to start an Instagram. You post the run from 03 to 13,
Yeah.
and within an hour, someone goes, "Hey, guess what I've got?"
Yeah, absolutely. And
What
then
was
he was super cool about it too. He's like, I want to do some kind of trade here, but like this belongs in your collection, so let's just figure it out. And so
yeah.
it was a great conversation. It's super easy. I actually, as I said, I have multiple versions of the same year's Black Parallels. So I actually traded one of those, one that I had just already had graded, but had a lower grade of it. And we came to a pretty quick and easy deal, and that was that.
That's great. So we see the result. So just what was your general reaction when somebody reached out to you on Instagram and said, "I've got it. Let's make a trade. I've got it." What was your immediate feeling?
Oh, my immediate feeling was I'm happy I started this Instagram account. I think it's like really easy, specifically on the internet, to get like dragged into drama and fighting and whatever. I'm just like personally not about that because I also use, that account as a little bit of an escape from like regular daily stressful life in general. So I just try to shy away from those things. And so it was also just like a nice example of like, no, like if you're going to be positive with other people and do the right kind of things, like those are the interactions you get back from it too.
So when you got it in hand and it finally got delivered, did you arrange the entire group like for like a group photo just for you to look at? What was that like when you finally got it in
It's
hand?
it's currently sitting at PSA,
Okay.
so I'll get the card in another 6 to 9 months, I guess. But once it does come back, I am gonna do some kind of post with the group shot of it. But I feel like I'd like to see them all in slabs first. The card I got was raw, to be fair.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah,
And then worth it, and that way they'll all be in the same
yeah, exactly.
PSA slab and uniform and everything else. Good. So, what would you say to someone who is trying to start a run? You started a few years ago, even just over the last 12 months, that Black Parallel has become more popular. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
so, if somebody wanted to start now with a player of their own, I don't know who, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Ronald,
Sure.
whoever
Sure.
it would be, where would you tell them to begin?
To begin, I mean, I think for me, like patience is key, and like know that if you're going to do this, like it might be 3+ years, like it might be. And I think it's also been a helpful tool in not spending too much on other cards, knowing that like, if this specific card comes up, I want to be ready to purchase it and not, having just blown a bunch of money on other stuff. And so I think patience and I think setting kind of the mental boundaries for stuff, right? Like just knowing that like, yes, I really want the 2003 version of this. It's not worth $500 and I'm probably not going to do that. And I might have to be willing to wait for that right card to come up too.
Yeah, I love that. I love all that advice that you just shared, especially at the beginning. Just say a little bit more about avoiding some of the frivolous stuff and putting yourself in position to be ready for when it does appear.
Yeah, I mean, I have dramatically consolidated my collection. When I first started, it was a little bit of everything, which I think a lot of people do, and important learning mistakes as well. I am very much like I collect black parallel cards and short print slash golden mirror, whatever we're calling them these days, and that's really it. And I've found that to be a much more satisfying way to collect because it just doesn't make you like for fun. I scroll eBay all the time. Doesn't mean I'm always buying stuff, but if you set those mental boundaries of like, this is what I'm at and this is what I'm getting, like, I think you have a more successful collection. And ultimately, too, like, I personally think I'd rather save and pay for some larger pieces that I really like than have a bunch of small things that I impulsively bought off of eBay because I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, thank you. As we wind down here, tell everybody again the year and the card of that last Mariano gold one that you're looking for.
2009, I believe that's the first year they were out of 50, and I have not seen one of these in a very long time, but otherwise I've got the complete run.
And that's the Topps Chrome Gold Refractor.
Topps Chrome Gold Refractor.
All right, Dan, he is Yankee Doodle Dandy Cards on Instagram. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and that's a unique one too in that it's not actually a complete year-to-year run. They took a few years off as well too.
Yeah, they did. It took them a while to get some traction on the golds, but they finally hit their stride.
Absolutely.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. Congratulations on completing that run, and I look forward to the day when you can post a picture of having the whole thing together. So thanks.
Thanks, man. I'll tag you.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Take care.